Hi everyone, I thought I'd do an update on the Elemental Hit Wand League Starter because there was actually quite a lot of discussion on my latest video and it seems that there's a decent amount of demand for it, so I thought I'd maybe fully flesh out the POB and think of solutions to the problems some of you guys posed. Uh, and I'm really grateful that you guys liked that last video. I thought this was pretty funny. With the new gem changes, as for considerations, the transfigured elemental hit is basically irrelevant. I've heard talks about it being used for leveling, but yeah, this is useless for us. As for the Wisp support gem, um, they actually pre-adjusted this to have a certain amount of yeah, basically on single targets it doesn't always trigger like they said in the teaser to avoid performance issues, but it still looks like a damage increase, just it's kind of mediocre and it's not as strong as it probably should be if it works how I think it does. Um, there have been discussions on Reddit about how this support gem actually functions. It, right now, how I think it works is that it only procs once, um, basically giving you like what 50% as like a 50% more multiplier. It's halving your damage and then creating two wisps, so it's like 0 0.5, 0 0.5, 0 0.5. But as this redditor pointed out, if due to the wording, it might proc more than once during a barrage. If this has a 50% chance to proc during each projectile, when you fire a projectile. So if this works with barrage and firing multiple projectiles, it's actually quite a huge damage multiplier. It's still probably not enough to make Wonders super meta, but it is considerably stronger than initially thought. So I don't know. I'll test it out probably before league start just to see how it is. I did do a leveling test, so I'll probably just use that character to test this interaction out. And I'll get into the leveling test later on in this video. Alright, before jumping into the tree gems and other gearing decisions, I'll just give a brief disclaimer that, especially with the forced difficulty of the league mechanic, if you want a smooth league starter, do not play this. The damage is kind of lackluster in the setup, and the EHP isn't as high as I'd like it to be. Although most of the gear is pretty conservative. Um, yeah, just basically play one of the 700 variations of Detonate Dead, and you'll probably have a smoother league experience. If you're kind of insane like me, you'll probably go with this, I guess, if you really want to. um, so as for like why champion over something like I guess Deadeye or even Raider. Raider's not really an option. I initially considered it for Avatar of the Veil, but the rest of the nodes are pretty much useless because of Perseverance, and Avatar of the Slaughter is just like kind of weak, especially when we already generate frenzy charges. As for Deadeye, if you do want to go a glass cannon approach, this is like perfectly viable. You'll definitely have way lower armor and evasion, but if you do want to go like far shot, then it's sort of a different playstyle. Because we are going point blank instead. You can also take ricochet if you want to do like fast clear. Yeah, basically since all the nodes are pretty much damage nodes, you'll have a lot higher single target DPS. Especially with endless munitions. Alright, for the rest of the tree, most of it is pretty much the same. I did take inertia here just to solve some of the strength issues early on. Later on, this becomes lethal pride. The lethal pride in this POB is quite bad, but there's a lot of mods that are really good. I'll probably display them here. And yeah, most of the tree is pretty much the same. I forgot to take the aura effect node and pierce on my old tree, And you can also consider doing a Wind Dancer for more HP. I just didn't take it. Just pathing upwards. We do really want both wand masteries, so early on you can take both of them, but obviously this is a lot of point investment. We do want this power charge generation because we are low on crit early on. But this pathing is really, really bad because most of these nodes are not that efficient. So I decided to go, while we still are applying the base elemental elements without interrogation, I decided to go for Storm Rider. And this way you get a bunch of jewel sockets. It looks kind of weird because we are taking like a lightning damage cluster on a tri-elemental build. But Storm Rider is just pretty efficient. Disorienting display is nice for blind. But you can go another notable, doesn't really matter. Yeah, so these jewels are pretty easy to craft. I'll get into the gear a little bit later. Other than that, it's just kind of a default build. We can go, as for other considerations, we can go the mana reservation if we really need it, maybe before getting like something like an Enlighten. You might want to go Whispers of Doom if you are post-interrogation. Actually, don't think I changed that in the other PoE, but, or I guess the other tree. But this cluster is also really strong because we are shocking enemies. So yeah, it's a huge amount of crit. This is like 2 power charges worth. So if you do change, if you do get an interrogation, this node is pretty strong because you will be using Skitterbot still. And then you can get like a minimum power charge on ring, and yeah, that'll require a bit of investment though. Most of the gear, actually I might as well go through the skill gems first. So this is pretty standard. I chose to do barrage support and then have the option of GMP if you really want for mapping. Barrage is actually quite good with Spellslinger Sniper's Mark, and that's what I found out during the test, but I'll get into that later. You can swap crit damage for the Wisp support. I'll test that out, but yeah, they are basically like interchangeable, and it kind of depends on the interaction with barrages that I mentioned earlier. And the helmet, this is like the Arrogance Vitality setup. Basically just getting life regen and buffing up Defiance Banner. This is the mobility setup and just movement. Corrupting Fever setup to trigger Adrenaline for the big increase in damage. And speed. Oh, where am I going? I have second wind here just in case you're trying to find out like different support gems to increase the cost of the skill, so that way you proc Adrenaline with 1 click. As for the auras, we'll go for Determination Grace because we are using Perseverance as mentioned last video. Precision's nice early on if you need more accuracy and crit chance. I have Enlighten here right now, but you can obviously like take this out and take the other mana reservation nodes or oh, where am I going? Skitterbots is used after getting interrogation because you still need to be able to apply the 2 other ailments, and that way you have 5 total. Molten Shell, cast 1 damage taken. This is just for defenses. I have this disabled right now, just so it doesn't like inflate like EHP numbers. And Spellslinger, Sniper's Mark. I did initially test Mark on hit while leveling, and it was not that good. It's really important to increase the level of both of these gems because they're both multipliers, and this is for like mana reservation. So getting 21 would be ideal, and getting like quality on this is ideal, but I don't have that right now. As for items, I tried to be pretty conservative. It should be pretty easy to get a well-rolled Piscator's Vigil because Wanders shouldn't be that popular. Most of these mod items are like 3-4 mod items, or like just like crafted, and they have like some of them have Eldritch Implicits. An alternative is to go Crown of Eyes if you really are lacking damage, and that way you can just scale spell damage, but it might be squishier than what I have here. It's just an alternative to think about. Because this gives spell damage, you can get a bunch of spell damage on your shield, and you can get on ES shields, you can get plus gems, which is a huge. Each gem level will give you like 10% more damage on this type of build, because we are elemental hit. Other than that, most of this is fairly standard. Instead of suppress spell damage, you could go for pierce, I believe. I couldn't find it in the dropdown. I might be blind. I don't know. You could take like the pierce nodes and then drop, or I guess pierce on the gloves and then drop these nodes eventually, and then go for like something like high voltage or Whispers of Doom once you like swap over. Other than that, boots. I do have brittle ground enabled because this is quite a lot of damage. See, like our DPS increases like almost like 30% more damage because it gives us a lot of crit, and we can actually like stand on top of enemies because we are pretty tanky. Well, sort of tanky, because we have decent invasion armor. At least for mapping, that's fine. For pinnacle bosses, it should be okay. Again, it's not a perfect build. Yeah, just like the reduced mana cost is like pretty nice. Just as for the amulet, this one's pretty bad. Notice how I have like +1 cold skill gems. You can go, since elemental hit has like all these tags, fire, cold, lightning. It makes gearing for plus gems way easier. So getting a +1 amulet, I have cold here, but you can do lightning and fire. It depends what's like cheap. So if you're able to snipe one early, it's pretty good. And then non-damaging element effect is obviously really strong. We have 50% here and 30% here. In my config, I have like 50% shock, but they should probably higher. I'm not really sure. I just, again, pretty conservative. I didn't want to inflate the DPS too much. I do have flasks enabled, and flasks are kind of a big part of our DPS because, yeah, perseverance again. Jade and granite, they give quite a lot of damage. I'm able to go with like greedy suffixes because of ancestral vision and getting element immunity eventually. That's because we are 100% suppress with this mastery and this cluster. Early on, you can take the suppress spell damage before you get this, because this will probably be a few divines early on, because a lot of people will be playing LA. Other than that, the Verdian jewels, similar to the plus coal gems, are easy to craft because they're both like contradicting mods for a lot of builds. Most builds will not be able to use like fire and cold crit multi. So this combination will be like very, very cheap. It should be easy to craft as well because they're both crit mods. As for the cluster, I'm not sure how easy this is to craft, but you only really need Stormrider, and I'm pretty sure this is one of the only crit mods on the large cluster. Yeah, it's basically just used for passive points. Later on, we drop this cluster and just take interrogation and then go for like something like elemental equilibrium and then swapping the exposure out. Oh, actually, oh, I can just drop this. Never mind. Whoops. Because we are going elemental equilibrium. But you could take anyway, you can take something else here, or you can just go Wind Dancer. And yeah, just replace it with like Watcher's Eye. The Watcher's Eye I have in this PoB is quite good because it gives like armor and crit multiplier. But yeah, you can just go with like any Watcher's Eye really. There's a lot of really good mods on Determination and Grace and Precision, I think. Yeah, I'm just checking if there's anything else I want to mention. Yeah, just in general, I thought about going for a totem setup just to increase single target damage, but sort of conflicts with point blank, and I thought that would be like PoB warrioring. That's hard to say. But yeah, basically, since you'd be placing them down, you're not actually like firing, and it's like theoretical DPS and not actual DPS. So yeah. Other than that, I'll probably just get in. I forgot to mention why we're not going to invert mastery when we're going interrogation. Is because we're applying scorch, and flat. Scorch is an elemental element that lowers flat elemental resistance, and this has anti-synergy with invert. And since we're able to get elemental equilibrium and Whispers of Doom with elemental weakness, either on, I think you can get on a ring. That way you can apply all three like flat elemental debuffs onto enemies. And that should be quite efficient for bossing, as opposed to just using the invert mastery. Alright, hopping in game, I did manage to find some time to do just like a brief leveling test. Let's see my slash played. Yeah, I wasn't able to get close to Balor's time. Kind of doubled this time actually, which is really embarrassing. But there was some like AFK time in there, and maybe I'm just coping. Yeah, but it's actually pretty smooth after first lab. I'll admit getting to first lab was kind of painful. It was heavily carried by like a totem setup. But I'll leave Balor's leveling video linked in the description. It's really, really good. I mean, he's so fast. It blows my mind every time. Yeah, it was pretty smooth, especially considering I was using this wand for most of the campaign, and this is just 11 attack speed, and even the wand I got afterwards is not too much better, and I was able to basically scale into white maps with this. Yeah, I guess I'll just do a brief Blood Aqueducts run, just to show off the build and what it might look like. I just proccing Adrenaline, and then just kind of shield charging through. It's pretty zoomy. Obviously I don't have great gear. I am using like really mad boots. Oh, few regrets. Yeah, this is the character I'll be using to basically test what am I trying to say? Test the setup with the new Wisp support. Yeah, but it's pretty fast, and I really enjoy it. Spellslinger is really nice. Yeah, notice I don't even have like, I don't have Perseverance, I don't have like any of the, so basically any of the gear. I don't have a good wand. And it's pretty smooth up until maps. I think this should be pretty fine up until red maps, especially once you get like Vigil. Yeah, this is without Barrage as well, and Barrage like heavily increases the single target. But I'll do another run just like really briefly. Just equipping Barrage support, and this is on a 4-link. I think I just have Trinity and Inspiration here. I got pretty lucky with the amulet, but most of my other gear is like fairly standard garbage. Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, Herald Device is quite nice during leveling, just to make sure that you pick up stray mobs. So like even with Barrage support, the clear is actually quite good because of how Spellslinger works. So it applies the mark to the enemy that you're basically targeting, and all the projectiles split. And obviously this is like pre-nerf, but it should still be strong enough, even if you don't have too many splits. Yeah. And make sure you're proccing in general, and I kind of forget sometimes, and maybe that's why I wasn't as fast. Yeah, don't be me. Yeah, just kind of chill build. Decently tanky for Kitava. For first lap, I just took the Adrenaline node, and then after that, but yeah, basically first lab, take the Adrenaline node, and then I ended up skipping lab 2 until later on, until just before I killed Kitava, because this node doesn't matter until you get Fortitude. So just get both of these at the same time. Make sure you're basically farming for it. I think if you want an early currency boost, if you get one of the DD of chaining gems early on, you can probably fund the entire build. Those would be quite expensive. Just a small tip, I guess. Alright, hopefully you guys have a good league start, and I'll see you soon.